Mr. President, I wish to thank you for convening today's meeting on transnational threats. I would also like to thank the Secretary General, Mr. Ban, for his commitment to this important issue, and Mr. Costa, the Executive Director of the United Nations Office for Drugs and Crime, for his efforts and devoted leadership, which plays a central role in combating illicit drug trafficking and transnational crime. Drugs and crime were among the 8 priorities the United Nations identified in the United Nations Secretary General's strategic framework for 2010-2011. Indeed, transnational crime and drug trafficking groups and networks have never had such influence on global reach. The nexus between their illicit activities is increasingly alarming. These activities are unavoidably associated with violence and corruption, and in many cases, they are used to finance terrorist groups and acts of terrorism. Thus, transnational organized crime and drug trafficking produce long-term negative impact on peace, security, and economic development, and should clearly be fought in a synchronized manner on multiple fronts. Transnational crime, drug trafficking, and terrorism profit from the weak capacity of states to maintain law. They fuel and prolong existing conflicts and pose threats to peace-building efforts in post-conflict states. In a globalized society, transnational crime groups and networks are better equipped with new information and communication technologies and are becoming more diversified. Hence, the need for a constantly evolving response. Mr. President, allow me to highlight the following elements. On drugs, despite the statistics from UNODC showing decreases in the global production of cocaine and heroin, efforts to fight the drug scourge should be intensified. This fight requires a comprehensive international approach based on a strong sense of shared responsibility. Special attention should be devoted to efficient modes of collaboration between countries of origin, transit, and destination. States need to build capacity, share information, provide mutual legal assistance, and carry out joint operations. Crop control strategies should also include alternative development and, where appropriate, preventive alternative development programs, eradication, and law enforcement measures. In this regard, we welcome the political declaration and plan of action adopted at the 52nd session of the Commission on Narcotic Drugs and commend its recognition of the need for cooperation between developed and developing countries. 2, on transnational crime, due to advances in today's technologies, transnational organized crime is increasingly operating through flexible networks rather than rigid structures. This form of organization provides criminals with diversity, low visibility, and longevity. We believe combating organized crime requires comprehensive efforts in building state capacity in the area of rule of law. Criminals are motivated inter alia by financial gain. We therefore attach importance to weakening organized crime through eliminating its ability to launder money. In this regard, we encourage international and regional organizations to join their efforts to establish a robust capacity-building mechanism for rule of law assistance. 3, on terrorism, Lebanon condemns terrorism in all its forms and manifestations and stresses the necessity to criminalize all terrorist practices and all forms of their support, finance, and instigation, and considers that terrorism is a global phenomenon not related to any race, religion, color, or country. The ability to create networks with global reach and sophisticated capacity provides terrorists with a new dynamic. Hence, the imperative to address root causes and strengthen responsible states and the rule of law and fundamental human rights in a global strategy for fighting terrorism. On international cooperation, the transnational nature of crime and drug trafficking means that no country can face them alone. In this regard, my delegation commends the role played by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, the International Narcotics Control Board, Interpol, WHO, and other relevant United Nations organs and agencies in assisting member states in the fight against drug trafficking and transnational crime, and encourage them to continue and strengthen their cooperation with relevant regional and sub-regional organizations. We particularly praise UNODC for working on a tight budget funded mainly by voluntary donations and express full support for this important organization. We support the recommendation that the United Nations should consider mainstreaming drug trafficking and transnational crime into its wider conflict prevention, assessment, and peace-building activities. Mr. President, the collective response to organized crime depends as well on the consolidation and strengthening of the international treaty framework. National, regional, and international actions and strategies to combat drug trafficking and organized crime need be not only comprehensive, but also well coordinated. No less important is to build with civil society stakeholders. Thank you.